try that. Oh, oh. There it is. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Dan here with
Steven Schinder
and John
Hey,
Lodge.
John Lodge. Hey.
Yeah, how are you, John? Thanks for taking time to join us.
Thank you. Yeah, fine.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, lots to talk about. You got a beautiful new solo album. And folks, just so you know, John will be touring the U.S. East Coast from July through August. And John, whenever you're in that area, is there somewhere especially that like must have stops on your itinerary that you like to visit, whether it's somewhere to eat or relax or just check out something that you're fascinated by?
I'm a bit of an explorer. I like to find new places, new venues, new restaurants, make new friends. I just love the experience of everything, you know. And so there's no favorite place. If you're by the seaside, I love being by the seaside. If I'm in the mountains, I love being in the mountains, but I prefer the seaside.
Great. That's awesome.
Especially in the summer, you know, the vibe, everybody's in good spirits, and it makes great concerts.
Yeah, absolutely. The weather's so nice down by the seaside in the summertime. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a song.
It does.
Yeah. And we have the tour dates graphic right here. I'm just pulling it up so people can see. And there it is. I'll zoom in a little bit. But yeah, you're starting in Red Bank, New Jersey, July 19th, and it goes through August 7th in Des Plaines, Illinois. And we also have the minute-long promo, which we can play right now, if that's all right.
Yeah, let's do that. Go for it, Steve.
Ride my seesaw, take this place on this trip just for me. There's a place that you and I dream. There's no escaping from the love we have seen. Nights in white satin, never reaching the end. Isn't life strange? A turn of the page. Wish I could be in your eyes. Looking out, there you are.
Sounds so good, John.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, great new album too.
Well, EP, yeah. Love Conquers All.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 songs were written during some health challenges that you had, and then 2 songs were done during lockdown. Wow, remember lockdown, everybody? And reimagined for this. And John Davison, who's now your son-in-law, is on throughout, and the two of you wrote Whispering Angels together and even brought Jeff Downs from Yes aboard to play keys on that song. And what was that process like?
Oh, it was fantastic. John put these chord sequence together. He was working on it, and I said, I like that. And I could hear the melody going on in my head. And so I sang a rough melody, went into the studio, put the bass line on, and then I said, I know what, we need Jeff to play keyboards on this. And so I rang Jeff up and asked him to play keyboards, and he said he'd love to, you know. And it's for me, it's fantastic because the song itself, Whispering Angels, and the length of the song and the format of the song, it's like going back to the core 7 albums of the Moody Blues. It's like a 2025 version of what was the core albums, you know. And I really like it with the Jeff playing flute on there, and I've got Dave Culcahoon from Rick Wakeman's band playing guitar on there, and Dave does a fantastic job. And he played exactly what I wanted, you know, to add the rock and roll to the ethereal flute and the big majestic strings of Jeff Downes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Steve, go through the track listing for everybody.
Right, so this EP begins with Sunset over Cocohatchee Bay, Love Will Conquer All, The Sun Will Shine, Toy Toy 4 remix, In These Crazy Times, Toy Toy 4 remix, and Whispering Angels. It's such a beautiful way to close the EP.
Yeah, and you know, John, it's interesting because you mentioned how much you favor and admire the seaside. And I was listening to the album in its entirety this morning, out of my watering my garden and taking care of my flowers and stuff. And I was thinking this is a great, just beautiful seaside coastal road trip album. And I live in the mountains in Arizona, and my wife and I are going for Father's Day weekend to San Diego. Steve's brother, my other son, lives in San Diego with his wife, and we're all going to meet down there. And I said, this is what's going on first. It's perfect. Has that environment influenced the feel of your music through the years?
I think it did, because when I was, I just bought an apartment, a condo in Naples, because my son lives in Naples. And his wife and my grandson, and I just moved there, and sort of the year after it was COVID, so I spent like 9 months looking over Cocohatchee Bay there, and it mesmerized me because the sunsets there over the Gulf of Mexico, you have the sunsets from winter to summer. And they are the most amazing sunsets I've ever seen anywhere. Wow. And it put me in a fantastic mode. It really is. It put me in a right. John Lennon said it, drift downstream. And that's what I felt like. And I wrote this song, and I made the demo, and I got in touch with a guitarist called Tim Maple, who was with me on my first solo trip in the UK, and he's a beautiful guitarist. I said to Tim, hey, come on, you could play this, and he did a fantastic job. Beautiful guitar playing, and it set the CD, the EP up for me, you know, particularly in these crazy times, because we're crazy times. I think we're all finding out that we're crazier than we ever thought. So
absolutely.
I'm really pleased with the EP, and I had it mastered in Germany, and at 45 RPM, not 33, because the sound then is better, bigger sound, and 180 gram, beautiful, and vinyl.
Yeah, the sound is just beautiful. The production, the music really is a beautiful work. I can't wait to hear it on the road in motion. And there's guest appearances on this EP by Jeff Downes, as we mentioned, of Yes. We mentioned Tim Maple, Dave Culcahoon, Ray Nesbitt is on it, and John's 10,000 Light Years Band. And also, John has his wife, Kirsten, and son, Christian, on the EP. It's just a great piece of work.
Yeah, it was I have to tell you a funny story about that. When I was recording in these crazy times, I knew I needed some help with the chorus line, and I couldn't ask anyone because no one could see anyone. So I said to my wife, look, she sings all the while, but will not do it professionally. She'll not do it. And I said, come on, you've got to record this song for me. And I put a microphone inside a wardrobe. And I said to my wife, this is what you've got to sing, but you've got to sing it in the wardrobe because that's the only way I can isolate the sound. So
wow,
she went,
great acoustics.
yeah. So she went into the wardrobe, and two takes, I think, and she got it bang on. I couldn't believe it. And,
Was she happy with it, John?
she's never happy. No, she said no.
How did I see that coming? Oh, that's great. That is a great story.
But when she hears the song now, she listens and she says, like, is that really me? And I said, yes, it is. Well done. Well done.
In a wardrobe.
In a wardrobe.
Yeah. That's funny. You should name it Abby Wardrobe.
Yeah. Good one. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
So is it kind of a different experience working with family then, or is it kind of just, you know, like working as usual type thing?
Yeah, I can give you 2 cents on that, and I'm sure Steve can give 10, but go ahead, John.
Yeah, it's different, you know, because you never know what you're going to get. You know, my son plays guitar, but he won't play professionally. He played the guitar in these crazy times, and he played beautiful guitar, you know. So it's wonderful for me when these flowers, you know, you plant a seed and you got a beautiful flower, and it's wonderful.
Oh, it's beautiful indeed. Absolutely. You know, back in was 2023, you also released Days of Future Past, My Sergeant, and remaining of the classic Moody Blues album. Amazing album, and love the orchestrations. What was it like trying to approach such a classic album in a new way, like basically reimagining it?
You know, it came about, I thought, how am I going to do this? And I thought, I know, I've got to get a blessing somewhere. So I went to Graham Edge and I said to Graham, would you record your poetry from Days of Future Past? I said, it's absolutely classic rock poetry, and I'll film you and you always have a place on stage for me. And he said, John, I'd love to do that. Keep the Moody Blues music alive. And unfortunately, Graham never saw himself on stage. He passed away before the first concert. But it gave me the impetus and the shove of the backside, really, to say, yeah, I can do this. Because if Graham can do it, I can do it. And so I listened to the album and I thought, yeah, I'm going to sing that song, and I'm going to get John Davidson to sing these songs. And that's, I approached it that way. And I didn't want to change the feel of the album at all, but I wanted to just add a few things that took it into 2025 or 2024 at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm really pleased with the result, you know, because I had to get into the head of the other guys in the band, singing their song, you know, because Ray and I have been friends forever, and Ray's got a beautiful sense of humor, and in his vocals, he's always got this sense of humor. Actually, how he sings, it may not be apparent to everyone, but when you know him, you know he's got this joyful approach to his singing. And I tried to get into that, you know. And with Mike is the astrologer, the psychedelic man, and Mike is a wonderful person of expressing himself in colour. And I tried to get into Mike's head about singing the way he sings, you know. And yeah, I'm pleased with the result.
That's great.
Sorry, my mic. So I'll read a few comments here. Rubino says Red Bank right by the water. Adam Parrish says greetings from the UK, and thank you to John for the wonderful music over the years. Always been a huge fan. And Donald Taylor says saw John during the Royal Affair tour in 2019 and Glasgow last month. Great shows. So I also saw your show on the Royal Affair tour 6 years ago, John, at the Irvine Amphitheater. I'm actually wearing the shirt right now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That was a great tour.
Yeah.
The Moody's really never did multiple act tours, but I have to tell you that was fantastic. You know what was brilliant? There's 4 artists on, and the changeover time between each act was like 5 minutes maximum. I don't know how the crew did it. The crew
Yeah.
were fantastic, and there was no hiccups. One artist after the other is fantastic, and
that's awesome.
the camaraderie on the tour was brilliant. Really was.
Yeah, I enjoy pretty much all the concerts I go to, but I think this one would be ranked higher than some others because it really did feel, aptly named. The Royal Affair tour. This might sound kind of fan-ish, but it felt like we were among rock royalty. There's you and your band, there's Yes, Asia, Carl Palmer's ELP Legacy, and Arthur Brown. It was just such an amazing atmosphere. So
What a
I was,
combo.
yeah, so I was curious at how that came together.
Yeah, have that bill come together. It's brilliant.
No, fantastic. Loved it. I just was invited, management, yes, said, would you like to go on the road with you? And I said, yes, fantastic. I didn't know John at the time, of course. I knew Steve from way back, but and Alan White from way back. But it was great. And Carl Palmer is from Birmingham, where I am from. So I knew Carl, and I hadn't seen him for years. So it was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And my friend Christian Molina, he says, In Search of the Lost Chord is a memorable record for me. I had a blast playing bass along to the record. So that was one of the Moody Blues' early albums, released in 1968, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Any memories you'd like to recall from that period?
We recorded it during many multiple American tours, which it hadn't started at the time, but we were revving up to do that. But the thing was about that album, Days of Future Past had come through, and the success of it, some critics said it was the orchestra that made the record, So we said, okay, let's play every instrument of our next record. And we did. And I remember we bought books of how to play bugles, trombones, cellos, everything. And we're learning as we went, And it was just exciting time. Actually, I played cello and I tuned it in as a bass. I didn't know you didn't tune it as a bass. And a couple of years later, when I was recorded with a real cellist, he was playing all the wrong notes. And I said, you're playing the wrong notes. It's not that way, it's that way. And he said, how do you tune your cello?
Well, John, I got to follow up. Go ahead, and then I have a follow-up question to that.
No, it's just you never know what difference it makes. Hendrix played his guitar strung back to front,
Right.
so
Yeah.
you never know what you're accomplishing. By doing something totally different.
So going back to Steve's question, 1968. In 1968, could you even pronounce the date 2025, let alone think you'd be touring and playing music? Like, what were your thoughts looking ahead at that age and in that time as a
I think
musician?
in the 60s, everyone was worrying about 1984 because
Right.
that was the milestone, 1984.
The
That
Big
when the
Brother year.
world, yeah, that was when the world was gonna change for everyone, and
Yeah.
so I think that's what the focus was, if you ever had a focus.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
came and went.
Yeah, just like Y2K, everyone thought everything was
Yeah,
going to collapse. Remember when we turned
yeah,
into
Yeah.
yeah.
2000?
Yeah, and 1984 just ended up becoming a Rick Wakeman album,
Yeah, and Van Halen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. And it's also so great to see Roger Dean involved with the logos and whatnot. How did he get involved with your first solo album, which also goes back? That's Natural Avenue, back in 1977. And by the way, going back to 1965, I was 5. I was 5 years old then. And then going to when this album came out, that was my first real concert I saw was Led Zeppelin in 1977. So that's a big milestone year for me. And you had this great first solo album. But how did Roger get involved? And I love his pathway
Yeah,
staircase with the floating
I liked
stones.
I liked Roger's artwork, and but I liked also his script, way he wrote names. And I went to see him, and I said, "I'd like you to do the artwork, Roger," and played in the album, and he came up with the artwork, and I really loved it. I liked the way it put the John Lodge together, and I've kept it ever since. Same type of thing, and I think it's really good. Roger, really clever guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it shows how timeless
Intuitive,
his work is.
yeah, he's intuitive with the music. That's really nice.
Yeah, that's great. And then this month also marks 10 years since 10,000 light years ago. Another one of your solo albums came out. Can you believe it's been 10 years? Did that go by
No,
quickly for you?
yeah, unbelievable. It's like incredible. The fastest 10 years of my life, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it's what's going on in the world is really fast for everyone. Everyone,
Yeah.
so much going on, and so much instant going on. Hard to keep up with it.
Yeah. True. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm trying to share the album cover for 10,000 Light Years Ago for anyone who wants to see it.
Yeah. Let's look at that.
If it'll let me. There we go. There it is. Yeah, I really like the spaciness of it, and it really fits with the title, and it's just so good, this cover.
Yeah. That's very cool. I love
I
that.
like it because there's so many questions actually in the artwork with your look. You don't know whether the spaceship has been there forever or the
Right.
spaceship has broken up and something's come out of it, or it's been broken and something's gone into it, Quite interesting, the artwork.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. Good job on that.
Yeah. So when it comes to playing the music of the Moody Blues, does it ever feel like, okay, this is a huge responsibility, the legacy of this music, or are you at a point where it's pretty much just like, okay, we have this down, let's just go out and have some fun? Like, what's the general vibe like?
The vibe is to have great fun, play great music, but make sure you're performing it better than the night before every time. Because my guys in the band are fantastic, and they really want every night to be beautiful for themselves. I've got a cellist, Jason Charbonneau, who's absolutely brilliant, and of course Billy Ashmore at drums, and my Alan Hewitt, my keyboard player, has been with me for 20 years now, I think. So we've got a fantastic rapport to go together.
That's great. I have 3 last questions that'll be real quick. Number 1, how would you rate John Davison as a son-in-law, 1 to 5? 1 being get this guy out of here, and 5, I want another one just like him.
How about 6?
Okay, there you go. Good.
5 have been my son-in-law, and I'll give you an extra 1 for being on the road with me.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. And John, all the years you've been in this business, what kind of light can you shed for newer, I'd say newer musicians who are going pro, or they've recently become pro, or they want to become pro? What kind of expectations can you give them by sharing what you think some of the biggest changes have been in the industry, aside from technology, of course, aside from recording technology and instrument, but on the business side, what's some realistic expectations they should have?
I think I think there's 2 things really, and I tell this to everyone who's talking. Don't chase the dream. Don't chase the dream, because you don't know what the dream is. If someone has said to me when I was 21, what dream you chase, I could never ever seen what's gone on with my life. Could never ever ever. But I do know one thing, that if your instrument is part of you 24 hours a day, and you can have that instrument as your best friend, you will succeed. The people that don't succeed, I think, are the ones that go after the dream and the money. So that's the thing. And
that's great wisdom.
From business, you keep your own records. Seriously, when you get paid, make sure you get paid, and it's not gone into someone else's locker or someone else's account, because it's so easy when you have hits to think, I'm not going to worry about that, because there'll be another hit, but there may not be another hit,
Right.
So so many people have gone bankrupt, but they're fantastic musicians, fantastic artists. They should be at the top now, and just have that instrument as part of your life, and you're never going to be the greatest musician. Just remember, there's always somebody much better than you, always.
Absolutely.
But you can be as good as you can be, and that's what you've got to aim for.
As yourself, That's great. Last question. This is the John Lodge Fun Fact segment. In the slivers of time that you have to spend completely outside of performing, writing, playing, recording, producing, outside of music, what's one thing that you like to do to spend your time outside music?
I love playing golf.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't find golf till much later in my life, and I found it a Zen sport. When somebody said play golf, I said, I can't wear those clothes. You know, that's not me. But I realised when I was in the studio and get stuck for an idea, if I went on the golf course, I'm focusing so much on trying to hit that bloody ball. It opens up your mind. It clears
Yeah.
your mind. It gets rid of the cobwebs. And I've found many times I've had a creative impulse on the golf course. And yeah,
That's
I don't
great.
play that much. I don't
How's
play
your
that
game?
much. But I
How is it?
like being tested, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to focus on hitting it, and then you got to focus on finding it after you've hit it. How is your
Yeah,
game, John?
yeah. Not if you don't hit it.
Right. If you stay out of the weeds, you're safe.
Yeah.
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 I tell people I play in the low 60s.
Sorry.
I tell people I play in the low 60s.
Okay.
If it
First
gets
off,
any warmer than that, I won't play. Well, that's great. John, thanks for making time to spend with Stephen and I here on Yesshift. We loved having you. You're always welcome to join us again. And if you don't mind, hang on the line after we say goodbye to the audience. And everybody, thanks so much for joining John Lodge and myself, Dan Schinder, with Stephen Schinder.
Yeah, and go to johnlodge.com, check out the tour dates and all the different releases, all sorts of great stuff there. So johnlodge.com, everyone.
Yeah. And Steve, where can they follow us?
At Yesshift on Facebook and YouTube. And if you go on a podcast app, type Yesshift, it'll probably find us. We're easy to find.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon with more fun stuff.
Thank you.